the number one thing they need to understand is that it's calories in, calories out that decides if you lose weight or not.
Calories in, calories out, but keeping in mind, calories in and calories out are not static numbers. And people say things like, well, I tracked my calories and didn't lose fat. If you didn't lose fat, you weren't in a calorie deficit.
Hey team, Mike here at After 40 Fitness and after40fitness.ca. I'm going to go on a rant today about this calorie in, calorie out dilemma. This, oh my God, the rhetoric right now that's in the forums and social media, it's really baffling. The people who are drawing, what a battle line between do you believe in, calories out, aka the law of thermodynamics, or do you believe it's irrelevant? Do you believe that calories don't matter and there's no point in even counting them? So we're going to have a little discussion today about the pros and cons, what the people on both sides are saying. I definitely weigh in on the side of calories in, calories out. I don't believe there's anybody who's ever in the history of dieting, for lack of a better phrase, who hasn't cut their food intake that hasn't lost weight. Right? Initially, everyone loses weight. You don't have to call it calories. If calories is a problem word for you, call it food, call it energy. But you want to lose weight 100% of the time, eat less. So I really don't understand the argument. Oh, I do. I understand that there's hormones at play, and we can talk about other things like exercise and getting your insulin in check and dropping your glucose and cutting carbs. But to me, they all are reflections of calories in, calories out. So let's spend some time today. I'm going to show you some of the comments that are being made by the proponents of the anti-calorie side, because to me, frankly, some of them are comical. At the end of the day, if you disagree with me, go ahead and put your comments down below. The best comments are in the videos just like this one. So if this is your first time to my channel or you haven't yet, please do subscribe. Hit the like button, punch the like button, of course. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Why wouldn't you? I live here in this keto Atkins low carb and intermittent fasting space with you. And so you're going to want to get notified when I get a bit of a brainchild or get prompted to go on a rant like this one. I want to start with the comment that people often make when they don't count calories. So people who don't have a calorie counter, don't use Carb Manager or Chronometer or MyFitnessPal will say that they can gain or lose weight without counting calories, as if that somehow negates calories. I really don't get it. So for example, look at this image here. This guy, Andrew, he said, if you believe it, then great, that's true for you. However, notice his bottom line. He highlighted, I have no idea how many calories I'm consuming. I never count. And Asia, this is someone, if you've watched my videos, who I just think she's awesome in the forums. I like stealing her shit. I like how she said this, Andrew, you don't need to know your calorie intake for the principle to still be true. I don't know or follow my caloric intake, and it's really immaterial. What I do know is when I overeat for a week or two, I gain weight. When I eat less, I lose. You know, that really sums up this video right then and there. I could probably stop right now. I'm going to give you 15 more minutes, but how well said. Eat more, gain. Eat less, lose. And the fact that Andrew says, I have no idea how many calories I'm going to try to illustrate that the best I can. I used to, back in the year 2000, used to drive a Pontiac Sunfire. And my fuel gauge, this is kind of cute. I never thought of using this as an analogy until this video. My gas gauge, I don't know why, but it busted. And I was too cheap at the time back in the year 2000 to pay. I was a personal trainer, wasn't making a whole lot of money. I couldn't afford to have it fixed. You know, it occurs to me by way of comparison that call that MyFitnessPal, call that Carb Manager. And what I'm going to say to you then is that because my tracking is no longer perfect, because my tracking is no longer, I don't know truly how much gas is in my gas tank, does that mean my car isn't using gas? I mean, think of it. How stupid, right? If I say to you, I can't tell you how much gas is in my gas tank, so therefore I'm never going to run out of gas. I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to worry about my gas tank filling up or going down. I don't need to care. In fact, I'm going to go one step further and say gas doesn't even exist because I can't measure that or I don't track it. Or my system of measuring it or tracking it is flawed. It's not perfect. Oh my God, how stupid would I mean, come on now, right? We're not being practical. So the fact that you can't track or measure your calories precisely, and we're going to get into that next, doesn't mean that the calories don't exist. Doesn't mean that CICO, right? Calories in, calories out, CICO, we'll call that CICO going forward, doesn't exist. That's stupid. Oh, you know something? Dr. Norton had another analogy. Let me flip real quick over to Dr. Lane Norton and we'll see his analogy and hopefully that puts this topic to bed.
Because it's hard to track exactly how many calories you're getting from a food, we shouldn't bother tracking it at all. That's like saying, because you can't track your investments exactly and your expenses exactly in a budget because they fluctuate. Because one day you might get a better return on your investment based on how the market's doing versus another day. And also your expenses you cannot completely predict. That's like saying a budget isn't helpful for saving money. Do you need to have a budget to save money? No, you do not. You can save money without a budget. Is it very helpful for certain people? Absolutely. I'm sick and tired of these straw man arguments and people like Kate who present bullshit as fact. Next time, Kate, do some fucking math.
And that's why I love that guy. Man, he gives it to you straight, right? So I want to show you another one. This is another guy. So Jay, this guy Jay, he says calories have nothing to do with weight gain or loss. Calories we do not burn. This is all media bullshit. Okay. Calories we do not burn. I don't even know what to say to that. Calories have nothing to do with weight gain or loss. Okay, Jay. By the way, this is in the Thomas DeLauer forum. So if you know who Thomas DeLauer is, he has people. I mean, as scientifically based as that guy is, he's got people in his group arguing that calories don't exist and CICO doesn't matter. Stupid. Unbelievable. Anyway, this one here, Asia also weighed in on this one. So I like stealing her stuff. It's remarkable how much we think alike. This woman, Regina, she made a comment that as long as you're eating carb-free, like low carb or Atkins or keto, and that your insulin is in check, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many calories you eat, your body will deal with it. So Asia nicely counters with, I love it. I love that. I love low carb. She says, I'm one of those people. I do those two things. I reduce carbs and I normalize my protein. However, to assume that someone, keto, Atkins, or carnivore, absolutely cannot gain weight by overeating despite having low insulin levels is illogical. Boy, is that ever. Or wait, do you believe it's possible to eat 5,000 calories a day of fat and protein for an extended period of time and not gain weight? Right? I hope that makes sense to you. If you're like me and your BMR, your total daily energy expenditure is 2,500, or like probably Asia's. I think she said in the forum one day, she said it was like 1,900 or 2,000 was her maintenance. So that's 3,000 extra calories for her. For me, it's 100% right extra. If I eat 2,500 a day, 5,000 doubles it. Do you think I can do that for a month and not gain weight? I hope you're going, well, of course you'll gain weight. Well, exactly right. Now, Regina's answer. Regina says initially you would gain. But as the body self-regulates and wants to be in equilibrium and fights for homeostasis, she believes, yes, you could do that and not gain weight. Despite this, I don't even know what that means, a little initial weight gain, but then your body would self-regulate. I get the impression Regina actually thinks that my body would up my metabolism to burn all 5,000 calories and I wouldn't put on any fat. Sounds like it. It sounds like that's what she believes. She went one step further, though, and this is how typically the argument goes. On the second section, she said, that said, the real question is whether the person, the hypothetical person, eating 5,000 calories a day would be able to consume and maintain that high amount of food consumption in the absence of carbs. I would wager no. Well, that's not the question. See, this is what someone has to do to fight back against a great question like Asia's regarding CICO is, well, you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. You couldn't eat 5,000 calories for an extended period of time. Oh, hold on a second. What if I could? I can. So I don't like this. I don't like when she says, yeah, but a real person couldn't do it. Shut up. The question was, if someone was able to eat 5,000 calories for a year, would they gain fat? Every one of you better be saying, fuck 'em. Sorry. Get a little fired up. Damn right. Of course. Oh my God. Anyway, that's the kind of argument. So the second thing that most people talk about when they talk about calories and whether CICO works is one, it's not an exact science, which we kind of dealt with. But second, it's because not all calories are created equally. Let's talk about that next.
And you could take 5 different 2,000 calorie diets, and each one could produce differing results to a certain degree, even though they all contain 2,000 calories. Protein has the highest thermic effect of the 3 macronutrients, meaning that your body burns more calories in order to digest it. Protein is about 20 to 30% TEF, carbs are 5 to 10%, and fats are 0 to 3%. So if you go from eating a low protein diet up to a higher protein diet, you're actually burning more calories through digestion. So it's directly affecting the calories out portion of the equation.
And that's the mistake people make when they're talking about calories. And they'll say, but calories aren't all the same. No, actually, in truth, a calorie is just a unit of measurement. It's like saying that a millimeter or a centimeter or an inch isn't an inch. But at the end of the day, a millimeter never changes. And a calorie never changes. A calorie is just a unit of heat. What people mistake when they have this conversation is that food isn't food. Now that I get. Food sitting in front of you, as Sean so nicely said, 2,000 calories of a burger and fries from McDonald's is not the same as 2,000 calories of salmon and vegetables. Okay, that's on the plate. So let's talk about this thermic effect of food, and let's really differentiate. Let's see if we can tease apart those two topics and keep food is not food, or a food is not the same as another food, different from a calorie is a calorie. And so this thermic effect of food determines how much of the food that you ingest actually reaches your bloodstream. So when we talk about whether to count it as a calorie is not a calorie when it's on the plate in front of you, I concede. You could give in on that. You can say, you're right, on the plate in front of you, when I get a burger and fries and salmon and vegetables, those are not the same. And calories in that case are not the same. When they reach the bloodstream, make no mistake, identical. So as Sean nicely said, protein, I'll show you a little chart here, protein between 25, let's just say 25%, 20 to 30%, depending on the protein source, is given up to this thermic effect of food, which is digestion, or the ability to assimilate those calories. Okay, somewhere around 10, maybe 12% for carbs, and right around 3% for fats. All right, that's how much is given up to assimilate and digest. Well, as soon as you appreciate that, you go, okay, well, hold on a second. Remember, we're not talking about calories yet. This is before it reaches your bloodstream. This is in order to digest it, to break it down, to denature it, to break up the enzymatic processes that get the nutrients and the calories out of the food. So while this is considered part of calories out, I kid you not, the thermic effect of food is counted in the calories outside. I'm going to spin that on its head with you real quick. I like to think of it as impacting calories in. So to Sean's point, if I have 2,000 calories from a burger and fries, and let's say that overall the amount that's going to get lost to digestion, get lost to the thermic effect of food, let's say it's 10%, because there's a lot of fat, carbs, and not as much protein in that meal. So let's say it averages 10%, and of the 2,000 calories I ingest, 1,800 reaches my bloodstream. All right, now let's look at the salmon and the fish. The salmon and the vegetables. Let's say because of the complex nature of the carbs and the fiber in them, as well as the fact that I'm losing 25% roughly on the protein in the salmon, right? Let's say that the thermic effect of that meal is 20%. So now, instead of 1,800 reaching my bloodstream, 1,600 reaches my bloodstream. That's the difference between food. Okay, now, of those calories that reach my bloodstream, do you think the body thinks they're any different? Nope, not a chance. Okay, the fat and the carbs are fuel sources. The protein gets sent off to do enzymatic processes. The amino acids get broken down for muscle repair, for collagen, for connective tissue, for liver function, and for all the enzymatic and hormonal functions that come from amino acids. But when it comes down to the calories that are going to get oxidized for fuel, be that glucose and fat, it doesn't matter anymore whether the calories are the same at that point. It doesn't matter that they came from a shitty meal or from a great meal. It truly doesn't. The body cannot tell the difference. When the body is oxidizing glucose and fat, it doesn't first say, I wonder if this came from complex carbs, what if this came from broccoli, or if it came from the bun on a Big Mac. It has no way of knowing. Your body's already dealt with that. Your body's already taken care of it, the thermic effect of food. Okay, so that's why I think it's really interesting that people talk about a calorie is not a calorie. Agreed. But where are we drawing our line in the sand? Based on what barometer? And to me, the barometer is what reaches your bloodstream. At which point, a calorie is a calorie. I hate to tell you. A calorie is a calorie at that point. Dr. Norton had a comment on this as well. Let's see what he says.
I'm not saying all calories are the same, even though they really are, because calories are a unit of heat. All sources of calories are not the same. Protein and fiber have a greater impact on thermogenesis, which is why it makes sense to eat a high protein, high fiber diet.
People on the anti-CICO side of the equation like to talk about whole foods and how you can eat as much whole foods as you want. It would appear, more so to Regina's point, you can eat as many and as much whole foods as you want and you're going to lose weight. So calories can't matter.
Satiation is another factor. Certain foods are higher on what's called the satiation index, which means that you'll naturally feel fuller after eating them. So if you eat higher satiation foods, you'll likely end up consuming fewer total calories overall, probably without even realizing it, assuming you're not tracking your calories in detail. And so that's affecting the calories in.
It just seems like every argument that someone who's anti-CICO comes up with affects calories in, calories out. Have you noticed that? So whether it's the satiation aspect of whole foods, that I can't eat as much because I'm full faster, guess what? You infacted calories in. Here's another one.
The calorie density of foods is a factor too. If you eat foods that contain fewer calories relative to their volume, so that's generally going to be minimally processed whole foods, leaner protein sources, low-fat dairy, vegetables, fruits, things like that, The higher food volume will physically fill your stomach up more until you'll end up eating less and taking in fewer calories overall.
So sure, eating better foods, better quality foods, whole foods, less shit is going to result in less calories being taken in. Doesn't that seem so simple? Right? You cannot help but affect calories in, calories out. And same thing happens when people go keto, Atkins, low carb, when they try carnivore, when they go intermittent fasting. You know what you end up doing? You end up resetting insulin and glucagon, but also leptin and ghrelin, the hunger and satiation hormones, which means that by nature, I don't know if you heard this or not before, but keto, Atkins, carnivore, they're considered or often called fasting mimicking diets. And the reason for that is because they naturally are appetite suppressants. Right? When you start getting the bulk of your energy from fats, right? Protein taking care of the building blocks of your body, your nutrient side of the equation, and you're getting all of your energy, or let's call it 95% of your energy from fats, you don't get the insulin spikes. You therefore don't have the appetite. You don't get the cravings and the hunger. So all of a sudden, without even meaning to, people naturally, by default, end up eating less. It is very, very rare to find someone who goes keto, Atkins, carnivore, or low carb in any way, shape, or form, or especially intermittent fasting, who still eats the same amount of calories. In fact, I'm going to go on and just say naturally it doesn't happen. Because I fear that what we're doing is we're just naturally going into keto, Atkins, low carb, or carnivore, and we're dropping, without even knowing it, we're eating less shit. Therefore, when you cut out 300 or 400 grams a day of carbs, I don't think very many people compensate with more fat. I truly don't. So if you're eating 1,000 or 1,200 calories less per day of carbs, right, which is generally speaking all of us, if you're watching my video, you're probably in that space, then why do you think you've compensated with 1,000 more calories of fat? You haven't. Well, that just comes, and with it, less appetite. Isn't that awesome? That's a bragging feature of keto, Atkins, low carb, and carnivore. We talk about it all the time. You won't be hungry. Once you're fat adapted, you won't be hungry. Hunger that goes away, and you'll eat now more by the clock than by your hunger pangs. And now we're going to turn around and say, but you know something? Because that happened and I eat less food naturally and I'm not as hungry, it can't be calories. It's got to be because I dropped out the carbs, I'm eating better food. Nope, still calories in, right? We haven't even touched on the calories outside. I could really spend a whole lot more time on calories out. That generally speaking, when people decide to eat healthy and they go keto, Atkins, low carb, or carnivore, guess what they also end up doing? A little bit of exercise, they get more steps, they stop taking the elevator, they take the stairs, they chase their kids around the house more often, they might even pick up a gym membership. All right. Hey, and listen, my video would not be complete without a couple of quotes from the doctor himself, Coach Greg Doucette. Let me see what he has to say on this. You're going to like this.
If all you eat's licorice, but you only eat 600 calories of it a day, every person's losing weight. Just because you eat healthy perfectly and do a lot of exercise and you're healthy doesn't mean you're going to have a six-pack. No, it doesn't work like that at all. To get a six-pack, you need to diet to the point of having low enough body fat levels to see it. If the calories is below maintenance, you will lose weight. Even if all the calories are from sugar or from fat or from protein, you're still going to lose weight. Calories in, calories out.
That conversation was really entertaining. Coach Greg was taking on someone else who was saying that by default you had to eat healthy. And so Coach Greg's argument was that no, you can actually be in a calorie deficit eating pure sugar and you'll still lose weight. It doesn't require healthy food. Now, obviously, the healthier the food, the better. Obviously, going from a highly processed, carbohydrate kind of a menu over to a much more healthier one brings so many other benefits beyond just reducing our calories in. Oh, make no mistake, there are so many benefits, you know them. You know how much better it is to eat healthy, unprocessed foods. All right, but to Coach Greg's point, a deficit is a deficit. And as far as the body is concerned, it doesn't matter where those calories that deficit is created from. So that was his point. He wasn't saying go out and eat 600 calories of licorice. Okay, it was just establishing that it really didn't matter what the macros are, just be in a caloric deficit. And that has been proven universally every time. Sustainability is a different topic. And that's where I think keto, Atkins, low carb is really powerful, because eating 600 calories of licorice a day, right, will mean that not only are you not healthy, not only are you not getting the nutrients that you need to be healthy, but you're going to be hungry all the time, right? And that's the benefit of eating in a caloric deficit, a slight caloric deficit. Again, I'm not suggesting 600 calories, and neither was Greg. Make no mistake. What we're talking about is reducing your caloric intake by a modest amount, call it a couple of 100, 300 calories, is sufficient to have long-term success, and that is primarily done by eating better. You will do that naturally by default just by improving your menu options. Hey, listen, I hope on that note you got some good stuff out of that. I'm going to finish with a summary here by Sean again. Sean Malawani has some really good clips on this. I was really impressed when I was doing some research. He had some great stuff. And as you can tell from the information I've stolen, it's really good. So I'm going to finish with his summary, and that'll be it for today. On that note, again, thanks so much for your time. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Do like the video if you found it at all entertaining. If you got some food for thought, if you're going to leave a comment down below, please do. Again, the best comments turn into videos. But on that note, here's Sean to close out.
So the people who preach this sort of anti-calorie idea, they are correct in the sense that a food's caloric value on paper before it goes into your mouth, that does not tell the whole story, since different foods require differing amounts of energy to digest. They have different fiber and micronutrient profiles, and they affect hunger levels differently as well. However, they are wrong to then take that and then claim that that means that calories don't matter, or that calories in versus calories out is an incorrect model, since again, it still boils down to the net energy going in versus the net energy going out. And in order to lose fat, you still need to create a calorie deficit by expending more calories than you take in.